Hello, hello, and welcome. My friend, I'm so excited to see you here, and I'm so grateful for this platform, for this opportunity, for you, my friend, that we can have conversation today that is encouraging, uplifting, and powerful to help you succeed, to help you become a better leader, and to help you see that you have such a tremendous potential that is there to be unlocked, waiting to be unlocked, and waiting to be just blossoming in your life through you. It's it's how I think we can make a difference in this world. If you're tuning in first time today, my name is Jana Masik. I am hosting this live broadcast, Powering Unique You. Today, coming to you live. It's Monday. It's the beginning of new month. We are right into May, and it's really, I feel, is an opportunity for us to refresh, to start this refresh button and say, how can we reevaluate our life? How can we do different, do better? So I welcome you today. And today we're going to have a very interesting conversation that I believe is um, relevant and quite hot topic right now for many companies, but also for individuals. And it's really about talking how to improve engagement and retention of your valuable employees. Now, whether you're a leader and you are leading your your organization, your team, your company. I think that's a good topic for you to tune in. Or maybe you're a contributor. Maybe you're an individual. You're one of those valuable employees. I still feel that there's gonna a lot of value in this conversation. Today, I have an amazing guest, a really phenomenal lady. This lady, I'll give you a little bit of a story. I met her when I was back at my previous corporate job in an energy company. I met her at the coaching session. CHRO hosted a coaching session for the entire company and brought in different coaches to talk about what coaching is about, how you can grow yourself, how you can make a difference in your life through coaching. And I met her and I had a coaching session with her, and it was fascinating. I was just so fascinated by this amazing lady. She's doing so wonderfully in the HR sphere. She has over 25 years experience in HR resources. She's specializing in workshops, design and facilitation, employee relationship and coaching. Well, perfect conversation. And today she's also has an MBA from Georgia State and bachelor's degree from Penn State. She has national certification as SHRM, Brig practitioner. She is certified affiliate with Judgment Index, and she also facilitates 6-week positive intelligence program that rewires help you to rewire your brain for more happiness and success. Well, without further ado, I want to bring in amazing Linda Plummer. Linda,
hi, good morning. Happy May.
Happy May, happy May. I am so thrilled to have you here today, my lovely mentor, coach, and friend, Linda. I'm so honored. Thank you for
I'm glad to
coming.
be here.
And today is really, I feel, is as we chatted a little bit last week, it's really important conversation to have about how companies engage and retain talent of those valuable employees. We've seen an exodus of people. We've seen that people have just changing jobs. Right now, they're reevaluating. I feel in this stage and phase where they think, do I really love what I'm doing? But much more importantly, do I feel appreciated, valued, and is the culture is a fit for what my personal values and goals are? So maybe I would love to hear your insights of what you're seeing working with different companies, and what you're seeing out there, what's happening right now in this sphere.
Okay, great. Well, let's start with the idea of employee engagement. And I was struck, Gallup organization did a survey and found that only 20% of full-time workers around the world say that they're engaged in their work. And, when people are engaged, they're more productive, they're more creative, work is a lot more fun. And I think we spend our best hours at work, and we should certainly have fun. So it's a worthy goal to try to understand what are the ways that we can support people in being engaged in their work, because there are a lot of payoffs both for the person and for the business. And a lot of times people do surveys and they ask, are you satisfied with your work? but are you engaged with your work is an even higher level, a higher standard than are you satisfied with your work. So in looking at it, there are three drivers that I talk to people with about engagement. One is the work meaningful? People want to feel like what I do matters. And I give you a great example. My son was an intern with a company, and his first week as an intern, they handed him 1,000 3x5 cards that they had obtained at a trade show. And it was in Holland. And so they were Dutch names. And they just said, enter these cards into this database. And so he came home that first day and he spent all day typing these cards. And the names were Dutch, like Pieter Stuyvesant. It wasn't like John Smith. And he was just complaining and complaining. And I said, well, wait a minute. Do you know why you're doing that? And he said, no, she just said, put in these cards. And I said, well, these cards are where the whole thing starts at that company being able to get customers and make money and pay for everybody's salaries and for the heating and air conditioning. I said, so marketing is going to contact those people. Those are people interested in this company's products. Marketing will contact them. And from there, sales will happen. So you're actually really at the very basis of making this company be successful. And it totally changed his attitude about it. And then I said, the second thing is, I don't really think you have to do these 8 hours a day. I suggest you go back to the supervisor and say, would it be okay if I have them all done by the end of the week? I could do maybe 2 hours of inputting cards, and then could there be something else I do and then go back to it? And he said, well, I could ask a supervisor that. And I said, absolutely. So he did. And the supervisor said, oh, sure, I'll give you something else to do. So that just speaks to my point about, we think, oh, an intern, they're just here for the summer. Anyone who's working for our organization, they need to know that the work is meaningful, and they really need to know why it matters. So that's one of the drivers of engagement.
I love it, Linda. I just wanted to say, I love the story that you shared with your son and his internship journey. And I also feel, even though you may be a permanent employee, not just an intern or a temp, sometimes you don't get to see the bigger picture, or you're not privy to the information. And yes, there may be sensitive information, but the reason why behind and how what you do affects the overall success of organization can truly change a person's perspective on what she or he is doing. So I love this story. Linda, what is the second drive that you'd like to share with us?
Well, let me just add on to that, though, that what you're also speaking about is transparency.
Yeah.
I really believe that we need to be as transparent as possible with our employees. And a lot of times leaders go, well, you just can't tell employees that. But, I worked at AT&T for 20 years, and I really would let my team know what was going on with the organization. And I actually can't even think of a time where there was something I couldn't share, but I was prepared. If there was something that was so high level, I would be able to say it's being discussed. It's just, I'm not allowed to talk about it at this time. I would have been okay with that. But honestly, that doesn't happen very often. Usually you can share with people what's going on in the organization. They want to know that they're part of a successful company. So the second one is a positive environment. Just having a great place to work and being transparent actually helps to create that positive environment. And, we hear a lot of things about, food always works.
Yes.
Making sure that you have food, coffee. A lot of companies are letting people bring their dog to work. They're having hybrid schedules, being flexible with people. So just, a lot of things about the positive environment. So just looking for how can you make your environment more positive. And the third thing, I'll give one example. I have a friend who used to run, it was kind of a legal group in a government agency. And in the summertime, it was in Georgia. He would occasionally bring in an ice cold watermelon, and he'd go to the picnic table in the back and he'd say, meet me at the picnic table at 3:00. And he was the head guy. He would cut up the watermelon, and they'd all just stand around and have a piece of ice cold watermelon and go back to work. And, he said it just really built morale. He did it like twice a month during the hot months in Georgia. Something that didn't cost much money, but what a difference that makes to people to know that they have something a little out of the ordinary. So a positive environment. And
Yes.
the third one is knowing that you are valued as an individual. You're
Mm-hmm.
appreciated and you're encouraged to grow. And one more example with my son, and I've always been so impressed with this. He worked at web.com as a search engine optimization person. And in the beginning, his quality indicators weren't what they needed to be. And there was another person on the team. The two of them were below the quality indicators. And, most organizations would have started discipline, we're giving you a verbal warning, that kind of thing. But instead, the quality manager met with both of them, and she met with them 3 times over 6 weeks. And she said, let me go through and explain each quality indicator. And she explained why it was important and what actions drove a good response. So she let them know what are the things that drive this result. And of course, as you would imagine, over the 6 weeks, both of them, boy, their quality results just kept going higher and higher. And on the third meeting with her, she took them off campus to a Starbucks. And the Gen Z, they're in their 20s. They were so excited. He said, Mom, I got taken to Starbucks, and we had our last
Wow.
discussion in Starbucks. And then she also, both his manager and the manager above, they both wrote emails to the 2 employees congratulating them. And their quality went skyrocketing. I mean, they're fine. They never had a problem with it again. And look at the difference in that approach to what most companies do, which is start
Yes.
disciplining that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So again, that's just an example of showing that you appreciate the people and that you're meeting them where they're at and encouraging them to grow and helping them to develop.
Wow, this is powerful, and I can say that whenever the quality and the performance and productivity slips, there are a lot of driven factors, personal circumstances, or there a lot of times I also feel from my personal experience, it's disconnect with the mission, with the management. It's not feeling valued. So you kind of stop caring for your work, right?
Right.
So in order for that care to come back to life, that you have to sense the care about what you're doing or who you are. So feeling valued, I feel, is just such an important uh recipe, in a way, the ingredient to this good engagement and productivity, and that your employees would actually thrive and try to do your best. And I feel it also goes, if you are a contributor, and and if you feel that you're not getting that, you're not receiving what helps you thrive in the environment where you are. And that's the reason that maybe we have so many people changing the jobs and looking for different opportunities nowadays, because I feel even being away and also remote has brought in more to the
Yes, you're right.
disconnect, has brought in more to this additional stress to what we're all been experiencing for 2 years. So it's really fascinating how the small tweak, the small attitude, the caring gesture, the caring conversation can tremendously turn around the employee's experience and also productivity.
Right. And one idea, it's old school, but it really works, is really to write an email or to write something that people, or send a card, or you can go to the dollar store and find, cute correspondence with, like some little cute figure at the top. And, I'm hopping, it's like a little bunny, I'm hopping to you with good news. And you
Mm-hmm.
write a personal note. And the beauty of that is that people can take that home and they can show people. And even men, I mean, they've done research that actually men would like to have positive reinforcement, positive affirmations more than women. I mean, they actually come out at a higher percent than women do. So as I like to say, I've never run into anybody who said, oh, they show me too much appreciation at this company. I just wish they would stop. I mean, we can't show enough. And sometimes leaders say to me, yeah, but if I tell them how much I appreciate them, then I'll never be able to tell them what they need to do better. No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
People understand that you're going to give them feedback and work with them to keep growing. But show what you could appreciate for them as well. And if you can put it in writing in a cute way and something specific, they tape it to their locker, they put it in their van, they take it home and show people and say, look, my boss wrote me a note. Isn't this
Mhm.
cool? So, yeah.
I love this, Linda, and I really like the examples you're giving. And I would want to segue from this with something that you and I have been exploring under your leadership is this concept of mental fitness and how the people that are leading their teams, they're leading their organizations, the management, the executive teams, can foster that environment by applying that to yourself first. And sometimes it's hard to give appreciation to people because you struggle with anxiety, guilt, shame, unappreciation, and not being loving to yourself. So when you start, reshifting this attitude or this perspective from you feeling good about yourself, you love yourself, you appreciate yourself, then it's, I think, automatically kind of outpours onto others. So share a little bit about the mental fitness, the rewiring of the brain, and what your experience has been with it so far.
Okay. Well, this is a program called Positive Intelligence, and it was created by Shirzad Shamin. He's written a book called Positive Intelligence. And, many people like to be lifelong learners. And so I attended a webinar about a year ago that he did. And I was just really struck with his approach to recognizing to the fact that we can retrain our brain. If when something happens that's negative, if we go to all the things that are wrong with it and beat ourselves up and judge ourselves, then we create that habit in our mind that's a habit of how we respond to bad situations. And so what he developed was a 6-week program that I've been through and that I know that you've been through as well. And in the program, we recognize our saboteurs. He calls them saboteurs. So one of the universal saboteurs is the judge, that we're constantly judging ourselves like, oh, I'm not good enough to be on a podcast or to do a podcast like you do every month, or, how could they possibly bring me in to train on this subject? What if I don't know absolutely every single thing about it? I mean, we're just constantly criticizing and beating ourselves up, judging ourselves. And so he works on us recognizing our saboteurs. And so, for example, for me, my top one is I'm hyperachiever. And that means that, like, I don't want to do anything unless I know I'm going to knock it out of the park. And when I look back at my career, I really wish I had learned this a long time ago, because I would only take safe jobs. I didn't want to take a risk because I didn't want to take a chance that I wouldn't be perfect. And when I was in high school, my class actually elected me class perfectionist. So this has been a tendency my whole life. And some people may say, "Oh, but hyperachiever, isn't that a good thing?" No, it's good to want to achieve, but when you're in hyper status, that is putting too much pressure on you, and that is not letting you be open enough to try something new, to take a risk, and maybe find some whole new thing that you would never have known if you didn't take the risk. So I really am glad I learned that, because I'm much better now at recognizing, you know what, it's okay. I am going to try this new thing and see how that works. So he has you recognize your saboteurs as you go through the program. And then he focuses on your sage powers. And that's what I like now that I've been through it, is that when something happens and I feel myself starting to go to a negative place, I go, wait a minute, which sage power do I need here? So, like, one of them is empathize. Do I need to empathize with where this person is coming from who's upset and angry? And another is navigate. So how might I navigate this situation? I need to open my mind to what are some possibilities for what I could explore and what I could choose to do differently. And then another one is activate. And that is, okay, what steps am I going to take?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've learned, I'm very extroverted, and this having to work remotely, like about 3 days of being in my office, and I'm just like, my energy just saps right out of me. So I've learned that if I can just get like 3 or 4 things done, that my energy just perks right up. And so that's just been a valuable insight I've gained from the program. So that's a little bit about the positive
I
intelligence
love it.
fitness journey.
I love it, Linda. It resonates very much. I'd say my experiences to see the strong judging myself so much for not being good enough, so much guilt, so much shame for not, achieving what I would presume or expect of myself, and then judging others. The judge has three modalities. You judge yourself harshly, usually nobody sees it, it's all in your mind. Then as you judging yourself so harshly, it's inevitably that you come in judgmental toward others, and it's in your tone and it's the energy you bring in the conversations. You may say nice and good things, but your energy, your internal vibration, your internal, it's like a vortex. It's judgmental, it's negative. So you're judging other people. They can't be cared or feel valued when you're coming with that kind of attitude. And then it judges your circumstances, saying, well, my circumstances are not good enough for me to be happy. My circumstances with my team, my circumstances with my finances, with my health, whatever it may be. You feel that when I achieve this or that, then I will be happy. And speaking to saboteurs, mine is the biggest one, is restless. It's just running around and trying to find this other new novel sensation, new novel thing I can check or I can look or I can think about or do. And just having hard time to just stop, be grounded and rest and feel at peace at my pace, at my progress. And it's real. And I think seeing that information can transform whether you're a leader or contributor on whatever level you're in the organization. It can transform your personal perception, and it can definitely transform your relationship with your team and in your team. Right. And Linda, I know that the simple thing, a very effective thing to shift from that energy of negative, of judgment and saboteur into the sage stuff, which is really your inner wisdom, your positive intent. That's where you even in your brain, you shift to prefrontal lobe. I would love for you to demonstrate a quick exercise that are called PQ reps. It's like positive intelligence, little reps that you could do for your brain. Maybe just give us a little illustration. And as you're tuning in or listening or watching, I invite you to follow Linda and just do a little reps with us together.
Great. So close your eyes. Put your feet on the floor if you're sitting in a chair. Back straight. And slow your breathing down. Take a deep breath in. And a breath out. And then with both hands, rub like your thumb and forefinger gently together. Just rub those two fingers gently together. And feel the ridges on your fingertip. And just be in the moment. And then put your two hands together, palm to palm, and just gently touch your hands, focusing on the warmth and the ridges of your fingertip. And then take one of your hands and just rest it gently on your stomach. And feel your stomach rise and fall. And open your eyes when you're ready. And that is called PQ rep.
Yes.
And when you go through the program, this is something that you do a couple of times a day. And it's really nice because if you get in a stressful situation at work, some people do yoga, and yoga's great, but you can't go into a yoga pose sitting at a conference room table, but you can actually put your hand under the conference table and just rub two fingers together and center yourself to calm down and realize that you want to open yourself up to using a sage response. And that's what the PQ rep is about. And I also just wanted to say too that my second saboteur was hyper rational, which is like, just give me the facts, kind of cutting the emotions out of it. And one of the things he has us do, I'm going to He has us
Oh,
get in touch with our childhood picture. This is me at 6 years old. And in the program, when he said, get your childhood picture, I was like, no way. That's my hyper-rational. I am not doing that. But then I was like, come on, Linda, you are doing this program. Go get the picture. So I got this picture. And what he has you do is look at this child and say, this child deserves to be loved. And why would I beat her up by judging her all the time? And I keep this picture right here by my computer. It sits right here so that I can see it all the time. And that's just that was probably one of the most powerful learnings that I had in going through positive intelligence.
yes, this is wonderful. I think that realizing that this amazing child still lives in us, and then we just need to have the empathy, have the compassion, have the love, unconditional for ourselves, because we are like a mixed bag of greatness, unique mixed bag of greatness and challenges and some imperfections, and we just need to embrace who we are. And when I feel individually we do that, we go through this learning and experiences, it can be very powerful in then giving you the power to feel grounded and centered, to stop beating yourself up, but also have more greater empathy toward others. And that's what it's all about. How
Right.
can you retain and engage your valuable employees? Is start with you. You as an individual have tremendous power, and you can make a significant difference, no matter where you are in the chain of the or structure of the organization. You can make a big difference in bringing in the positive energy, bringing in the empathy, bringing in the curiosity, and igniting this positive vortex. Linda, it's really been fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing this amazing insights and values. And I know I wanted to touch a little bit on retention. What are your advice on how can companies, improve their retention right now?
Well, that is definitely a concern. Every organization I work with, they're trying to find people. One is to really ask yourself, can you allow as many jobs as possible to be hybrid, where they may work from home 3 days a week or 2 days a week? And when you're advertising for a job, if you're looking for a controller, and then you can put in parentheses hybrid, you're going to get a lot better candidates who are like, oh, wow, they're already there. So that's just, in a recruiting tool. I'm also seeing companies now give benefits from day one. A lot of times it used to be 60 days on the payroll and then the first day after that, but from day one, companies are being asked, do you really need to test for marijuana? I mean, Florida is a medical marijuana state. And if they're not driving a company car and it's a desk job, do you really want to cut people out because they tested positive for marijuana? I'm just raising the question. Another thing, I'm seeing people drop the requirement for a college degree. They're asking, is a college degree really necessary for this job? I mean, we used to use it for a way of screening people out, but you
Yes.
really need to look at people's experience. Do they have the experience to be able to handle this and not need the degree? There's something called a stay interview, and Beverly Kaye, Kaye, she's a national writer. She wrote a book on it. If you search stay interview and Beverly Kaye, she has a lot of good questions, but she made the point, why do we wait for someone to resign and then we do an exit interview? Instead, let's do a stay interview like once a year. Like, what keeps you here?
Yes.
What would you like to learn? Those kinds of things. You want to know what gets the people excited. That's back to that employee engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And then really another aspect of retention is investing in people's development. And I have a
Yes.
large nonprofit in town that's doing a 6-month leadership program. And think about it. If your company's investing in you, and we're using as our textbook, I designed this, Your First Leadership Job. This is a wonderful book, How Catalyst Leaders Bring Out the Best in Others. But they're given the book, and I teach a class, and they have homework. They do their homework, and they are required to meet with their manager and discuss it. And they have to practice like holding the conversations with their employees or their coworkers, because not everybody in there supervises people. Some are
Yes.
individual contributors. And then we discuss the homework at the next class, graduation. And at graduation, they have 3 minutes. They share one thing they learned. and how they've applied it on the job. And again, that's part of building leadership. And all the executive, we have a guest executive each time. So, think about it. If that's an exciting program. People love being in this program, and they're so impressed that their organization is investing in them.
Yes.
And that's over 6 months. So you got them for 6 months, and it's going to build their competency. So they're going to feel better as a leader or as an individual contributor because they know how to have a conversation. They know how to give feedback. They know how to delegate. So that's just one way of continuing to build retention.
I love this. I love all of these nuggets and insights that you are giving, Linda. Very valuable. Thank you. And lastly, I do want to ask you to give us your recommendation or suggestion for how to lead, how to develop your personal leadership brand. Whether you have a title and have a supervisor or management responsibility, whether you're an executive or you're a contributor, like you said, we all have a brand and we have a power to grow and improve. So what would be your suggestions for that?
Well, I love that you said brand, because actually that's one of the exercises I have them do in this workshop. Is in the very first session as they work on developing their leadership brand. My big thing is to encourage people to be a lifelong learner, be curious. At least like once a month, pick a book or a webinar, something that will stretch your brain and have you think a little differently. There's a book I'm reading right now called Atomic Habits, and it's about how we build a habit from tiny little steps. I mean, something like that. Like, I just make myself read a couple chapters a week and see how I can apply it. So those are ways of getting new ideas. And then really, anytime we interact with another person, we have an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. People are craving leadership in this country. And so if we can be calm and offer ideas and listen, really listen and draw people out, then they're going to help come up with ideas too of what can be done to make their life and their work life even better. So those are just some ideas around leadership.
I love this. It's really learning, I think, and being open and curious is so valuable. Being present, what I hear and listening is a phenomenal opportunity to do that by learning more about PQs and positive intelligence, because I feel our mind is so packed and right now so distracted by social media that we're constantly running on so many different directions. Our thoughts are all over the place. So that grounding exercise, the PQs, help you to really refocus and reshift and be present where you are. And that has a tremendous payoff. It has tremendous impact, not just in your professional life with your teams. And you could do that on Zoom. I can be on Zoom and I could see whether a person is present or not, and it can make such a huge difference in your personal relationship with your spouse, with your loved ones, with your children, with your parents, with your friends. So it is an opportunity for you to step up and to say, hey, let me upgrade my personal brand a little bit. Let me find a way to upgrade myself and to enhance, my brand that can then catapult and help you to not just succeed professionally, but feel more happier as well.
One other thing I just would like to close with, and that is that one of the things we learn to ask ourselves is, what is the gift in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, in just about anything that happens, you can find a gift in it. And it really helps change the way you look at a situation. And you may not see it at the moment that it happens, but if you go back a couple months later and ask yourself, what was the gift in that? And I think of a friend who lost her job. She didn't expect to. The whole group, they lost their funding and she lost her job early December. And I took her to lunch and she was just bereft. And I was like, what is the gift in this? And she was like, I don't see any. And I said, well, you haven't been happy in a while, and this is going to force you to find a new job. And I had lunch with her Saturday, actually, and she's had a new job now for about 2 months, and she loves it. She is thriving and happy. And she said, this is my forever job until I retire. And she said, I know, Linda, you asked me in December, what is the gift? And this was a gift. It was so wonderful that the program ended, because this is so much better. So anyway, and this is my first podcast, and I was very good at keeping my judge at bay. But Jonna, this has been a real gift for you to ask me to be on your podcast, and you've made it very comfortable for me. So thank you very much.
Well, Linda, thank you so much. You sound and look as a pro. I would never say that it's your first podcast. You're always so professional. You deliver a lot of value, and you just know your stuff. So if you're listening and tuning in right now, you have any questions about HR, about how to improve yourself, how to grow yourself, want to learn more about Positive Intelligence program that Linda is running the workshop for, please connect with her on LinkedIn. You also can find her website on the comments. It's www.plummerhr.com. So Linda, it's been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom with all of us. I appreciate it.
Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Wow, I think this lady deserves just an applause. So much value in this. I receive every time I communicate, connect, and chat with Linda. I always receive encouragement, valuable advice, different perspectives. So if you haven't connected with her, I encourage you, connect with her for sure on LinkedIn. Watch out what she's doing, and yes, check out her website as well. If you're in HR, if you need some kind of support in HR for your organization, she's an expert and she will support you and help you tremendously. I believe that we hold the power to make a difference in our own lives and in lives of those surrounding us. So I invite you today to step a little bit into this new ways of stepping into this sphere of self-control, self-command, and also being centered, being present. Give yourself this gift. And the simple ways is to do a little PQ exercises. So go back and re-listen, and it's a simple way of doing that, to centering yourself, to finding the clarity in your mind and giving you an opportunity to be present with those you love. So, my friend, with this, I'm happy to end this conversation, and I will see you again next week. Until that time, keep powering in EQ. You're awesome.